Puerto Rico is in dire need of help. Food and water, gasoline and electricity, they are all needed desperately by the island's nearly 3.5 million people devastated by Hurricane Maria. David Begnaud is on the ground in San Juan.
6 days after Maria hit with a vengeance, Mayor Yulene Cruz is at her wit's end, trying to find help.
I know that leaders aren't supposed to cry, and especially not on TV. But we are having a humanitarian crisis.
Some survivors, she says, are facing a second brush with death. Like other hospitals on the island, the Maestro has no power. A generator powers lights on just 2 floors. There's no air conditioning. Jesus Garce Soto's cancer took a turn for the worse the same day Maria hit. His wife, Lizette.
I tried to help him, just in the night, trying to, open the doors, open the windows, but it's not easy.
Roughly half of the island has no water, and the wait for essentials is excruciating. FEMA says it has the supplies it needs, with more aid arriving, but there are huge challenges to delivering it. Alex De La Campa is FEMA's director for the Caribbean.
And because we are an island, there's no trucks or roads that we can bring commodities, so everything had to be, we need to bring everything via airplane or via barge.
But the mayor says it's coming in too slowly. Only yesterday, she told us FEMA asked her to write a memo requesting what she needed.
I don't have freaking energy to write a memo.
Or the time.
I'm out there saving lives, so we need to get our together here. And help needs to get into people's hands now. Not tomorrow, not later, now.
Help is on the way. The U.S. military says they're sending the naval ship Comfort. It is a military hospital, but it may not arrive until next week. Elaine, Puerto Ricans are still flocking to service centers like this one. And by the way, there aren't many. But once they're here, they can charge their phone and actually get a Wi-Fi signal, which is the only communication they have on an island that is without power and in the dark tonight.
Wow. Well, David, Mayor Cruz has said that FEMA relief is finally making its way to the island. Are the supplies getting to where they're needed? Are they making a difference?
Look, we're hearing varying reports of fuel trucks that are actually being hijacked. We're hearing other reports of food and water that may be sitting in areas waiting for someone to load them onto a truck and actually take them out. But again, the FEMA representative I talked to said, hey, listen, we have been to almost every area of the island. And in some places, Elaine, we're told that the road is cut off. You can't even get there by vehicle. So the military and FEMA are having to airdrop in relief supplies. But I come back to this. We've been asking FEMA, show us the proof that you're doing it. Not that no one believes them, but we haven't seen video or photos actually showing them putting food and water on the ground or in the hands of people who so desperately need them. The FEMA man who's running the operation said, you know what, you're right, we need to do that. And he told us that tomorrow he would try and arrange a flight so that we could go out and show what FEMA is doing here. Because the bottom line is, it's not just about us asking questions and wanting to see proof. It's about thousands of people reaching out to us and saying, hey, listen, my family is not getting it. I just walked and talked to a woman who's in our hotel right now. She's been trying to check on her mother for the last 2 days. She finally found fuel last night, drove all the way there, and guess what? Her mother was alive. But the town where she grew up in is in shambles. So we are trying to follow FEMA and show the work that they're doing, because a lot of people who are watching the news coverage aren't convinced that the aid is getting where it needs to go quickly.
Wow. Well, hopefully you'll get some clarity when you get a chance to actually observe firsthand what it is that those FEMA workers are doing. Let me ask you, David, when you talk to Mayor Cruz, of course the concern about fuel and water is top of mind, but tell us more about that, because some of these images that we've seen are unimaginable, frankly. People trying to gather water from pipes, from streams, from hills there. It really is, I think, so difficult for people on the mainland to envision how desperate a situation it is.
Listen, the man who runs the FEMA operation said this is Puerto Rico's Katrina. Those were his words. But when I found the mayor this morning, she was sitting in a chair right there on the balcony of this service center, and she was crying. And so I invited her inside and I said, what's going on? And she said, the situation is worse today than it was 6 days ago when the hurricane made landfall. I mean, she literally said to me, this is a Mayday signal. I am sending out, I'm waving a white flag. I am begging people to help me. She talked about talking with FEMA and other officials, and when she would call them and ask for help, they would be in logistical meetings. And she said to me, if only they would stop meeting about what we're going to do and just start doing it.
Well, David, you also reported that the Oaxaca Dam is intact but in need of reinforcement. So give us an update. What is the status right now? Are the citizens in the area in danger?
Look, there was some real confusion amongst officials on the ground. You had local officials in the area near the dam saying that this was being overhyped and may not be as bad as the governor thought it was. Here's what the U.S. military is saying. They've been able to get people in. They've checked out the dam. There is a failure of the spillway portion of the dam, but the dam itself is intact. However, the U.S. military says it's going to need some enforcement, but it doesn't sound like any kind of failure is imminent.
All right, David Begnaud reporting from Puerto Rico for us. David, thank you.